Welcome to the January XMod Pro user group meeting, where XModders from around the world get together to learn, share, and find new ideas about how to leverage the power and flexibility of XMod Pro to build DNN solutions for their clients and themselves. I'm Melinda. Before we start, I'd like to quickly run through some housekeeping. Since XMod Pro has users around the world, it's impossible to find a time that fits everyone's schedule. So this user group is being recorded and will be available on our YouTube channel shortly after we wrap up. The user group is intended to be a place where the community can share their ideas, questions, and we encourage you to join us at the Hangout by clicking the link that I posted on the Hangouts events page. At any time, please post your questions in the blue Q&A app button, and we'll answer it during the presentation. Sometimes it may take the presenter a moment to get to that. Of No Better Creative Services and DNNDev.com, and the founder and creator of XMod Pro, Kelly Ford.
Thank you, Melinda, and welcome to the January.
Can't hear you, Kelly.
There we go.
Back.
All right, well, this is not starting out very well, but let's just regroup and try again. Welcome to the January edition of the XMod Pro user group, and as Melinda mentioned, this is where everybody comes to hang out who is into XMod Pro. And our goals here are to really try to help you learn XMod Pro, show some of the cool stuff that people are building with XMod Pro, and also give you some announcements on what's happening in the world of XMod Pro and new releases and things like that. And basically that means that today we're going to talk a little bit about the most recent release of XMod Pro, which was released last week, I believe, XMod Pro 4.7. It's been a long time coming, but we finally got it out the door. And it has a couple of new features in it, and it is replete with just a bevy of bug fixes that have been stored up that we have been waiting anxiously to release to you. So we finally got those out the door. If you haven't heard about it yet, it is on the .NET Nuke store. If you're an active subscriber, then you can download it for free, and you can find that on our site in the download section under the clients menu on DNNDev.com. And we encourage you to do so. As with all upgrades, of course, of any module, we recommend that you back up your database and back up your website before you do any kind of upgrades, just in case something weird happens and you want to roll back. So with that out of the way, we'll start talking about what you can expect in XMod Pro 4.7. And what I'm going to do is share my screen. There are a few new features, really two significant features that I would like to draw your attention to. The first one is something that people have asked for. One of the great original ideas in XMod Pro from version 1 was that you're able to actually have multiple template tags within a single template file.
Hutch said he couldn't hear you.
He can't hear me. Why is it a Hutch? Okay.
Can Ryan hear you?
Patrick, can you hear me? Patrick can hear me. Hutch can't hear me. Maybe turn your sound on, Hutch. Make sure you're not your sound isn't turned off.
Got it.
Got it. Great. Okay. I love it when it's not my fault. So one of the great things about XMod Pro from version 1 was that it allowed you to have multiple views of your data within one single module instance, and that's accomplished by having multiple template tags. That is a great thing, and people have used it to great effect, but there's one thing that really comes with it that hasn't been a part of XMod Pro until version 4.7. And let's just say that you have a template that has a list of, let's say, books and a list of authors. Up until now, you could only have one form associated with your module instance, so you could either choose to have that add button allow you to add a book or to add an author, but it had to be one or the other, not both. So what we've done is we've made a what seems like a very simple addition to the Add button and the Edit button, but it allows you to specify what form you want to load. And while you still have your normal form that is loaded in your settings, in your configuration settings, you can actually override that. So here we have this, our configuration is set up for our dynamic form load template, which you just saw, and of course one of our dynamic form load tests, forms. So this is the things that, as normal. Sorry, I'm not talking very well. And so that's all, nothing's changed. But what we've done here in the template, you'll see if I open it up, is we have a lot of different buttons here, and this is one of the test templates that we used to exercise this feature before we released it. And you can see this first button will just show the default form, which in this case is the default test add button form. The next one has a new property on it, and that's right here, and that is just form. So what you can do is you just specify form on your add button or add link or edit button, etc., and then specify the name of the form, and it will load it when you press that button instead of the pre-configured form for that module. So let me show you that in action. So here's our default button, and then this is going to show the form load test 2. So let's first of all show you the form load test 1, which is right here, and you can see test add form 1. That is normal. Nothing changed there. We go back. Now if I click on the next button, it should load the test 2 form, which you can see is here, test add form 2. Whee! Doesn't seem very impressive, but when you put it in context of, say, like the author and the book scenario, now you can have an add button for your authors and an add button for your books, and they can all be in the same module instance, just as we have here on the on our test template here. So this is really, I think, a wonderful feature. It's something that people have asked about. They weren't really sure how to implement it. And under the hood, it took a long time to really figure out how to do this well, so it doesn't impact existing forms and templates. So I think we've done a good job here, and I think you're getting a lot of value out of just this one little feature. But we've also, the other major new thing that we've done is, you're familiar, we've talked about this on previous shows, we've talked about the new XMod Pro Exchange, which, let me see if I can get over there. And we go to the community, no? Learn, nope. Where is it?
It was in community.
Oh, here's the big button for it.
Oh, you're not logged in.
Oh, okay. So the XMod Pro Exchange, which has community, our contributions, Patrick's contributions, Ryan Moore's contributions, Stephen Lauer's contributions, and others as they come in. Basically, it's a community portal for different types of forms, templates, solutions, just examples of how things are done, and it's become very useful. A lot of people are using it, but we wanted people to be able to access it more easily, and eventually we want you to be able to contribute more easily as well. But the first step in that is to actually integrate this into version 4.7 of XMod Pro. So let's go back to our site, and where was my site? There it is. And you'll access the new Exchange from the control panel, and you'll see there is a new button here. It used to be the Help button, now it's just the Exchange button. When you click on that, it will show you the Exchange and all of the stuff coming live from our website. So you can see the honeypot captcha example that I showed you here. This is the first one, and that is showing up within the XMod Pro interface. So that's great. You can see what's new. You can read more about it by clicking on the View Details button, and you can see all the details just as if you were on our website, as well as requirements, Now, with all of the, I do want to point out that with all of the packages that we have, there is a disclaimer that you're doing this at your own risk, and no warranties provided, that sort of thing. That should be pretty expected and self-explanatory. Many of these will have manual installation and configuration options, but what we've added here, first of all, let me show you that you can see all of the details of all the files. This just has one form, so let's go back and select another one that has multiple things. I think this one does. So this has a template and a SQL script. I can just shrink that. So a SQL script, and then a couple of forms, and the last form here. So now the great thing is that the scrolling is really out of hand. There we go. Is that you can go and you can just, you might have seen it, you can actually install it from that page. So if we click on View Details again and click on Install Package, it goes out to our website, grabs those files, and then installs them for you. And you can tell this is the form name that it gives you, and it names it with the date and time, etc., so that it doesn't overwrite any of your existing files. So we've just installed this particular, the honeypot example package. Now, where do we find it? Well, it's just a form, so we go back to our form page, and all of these start with Exchange. So we'll go down to the Exchange, find the Exchange ones, Exchange, there we go. And this is the form exactly as it was placed in the XMod Pro Exchange. So now it's really easy to take these forms, templates, examples, and even sometimes complete solutions and install them on your site. Now there is one thing that I do want to point out though about the Exchange, and it's because one thing we haven't dealt with at this stage is that we don't want you to lose any data. That's why we're having new files written out to your server. Obviously, we don't want to overwrite accidentally any forms that come, but that also can mean that if the package requires a certain form name, or more specifically a feed name, because those are name dependent, then you might have to do some editing of the template or whatever calls that feed. So I do want to point that out. The other thing is that we do not install any SQL scripts. So you'll still need to do those manually. We don't want to take any chance that an errant SQL script will overwrite your data. You might have table names that are named the same, for instance. So we don't want to do that. So, but everything else gets installed automatically. And if there is a SQL script, you just grab it and then execute it on your database from the SQL page here in DNN. And that is the XMod Pro Exchange completely integrated now into XMod Pro 4.7. In future editions, we are going to try to make this even easier. We're going to add basically a one button click upload to the XMod Pro package system, so that you don't have to worry about even going to the website to submit things to the community. And I think it's going to be a great addition for the community, and I hope you take advantage of it and give us any feedback, ideas, and thoughts that you might have on it. There are a couple of other things that we did with XMod Pro 4.7, and if I can, you can always see what we changed from the revision history in the help file. And as you can see, here's we did release 4.7.1, which had a bit of a bug. So I would recommend you install that one first. But 4.7, you can see we have a few things that have been added and a lot of bug fixes. And a lot of these are minor. They're edge cases. We just wanted to clean all that stuff up and give you something nice and stable that you can work with. And this really is probably going to be the last version of XMod Pro that is released. Not obviously for good, but that is released that is compatible with the older versions of .NET Nuke. Going forward with XMod Pro 5, which is under active development right now, we will be supporting probably only DNN 7 and above, because we just can no longer afford to support older versions of .NET Nuke, because they don't provide the feature set that we need in order to provide you with a really great user experience. So expect a lot of good things coming up in version 5, but you will have that breaking change. But that's a few months out still, so don't worry about that. Let's just enjoy 4.7 while it's here, and look forward to great things that you've built with XMod Pro. With that, I will stop sharing my screen, and next up on the list is Patrick Ryan. Now, like I said earlier at the beginning of the show, one of the things that we like to do is allow people to show off, show what you've done with XMod Pro. It can seem kind of daunting and at times, and it can be kind of, I don't know, you might build something, but it's not really great to you. You might think, okay, it works, but there's so many things that you can do. You can be inspired by what other people have done and find out that it actually isn't all that difficult to build these things. So one of the things we'd like to do is bring people on, and Patrick happens to do a lot of development in XMod Pro, as you know, and he's built this for a client, and graciously the client gave him permission to show it to you. Otherwise it would be private information. So Patrick, without further ado, why don't you tell us about this project that you did?
Thank you, Kelly. Hello, everyone. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
I'm Patrick here, Reflect Media Group, Discover XMod Pro, and I have a project that I've been working on. Well, I think it took me a good solid 6 months, but it was in development for roughly a year. And I'm going to just start sharing my screen with you to where you can kind of get a visual on this. It's a very, very large project. I built a completely custom help desk for a fantastic company out of Louisville, Kentucky. Company is Remote Kiln Diagnostics. Actually, the company is Industrial Kiln and Dryer. They are probably they are, from what I know, they're the largest provider of solutions for rotary processing equipment. So think of those big, huge, massive, hot rotary kilns that are making all the stuff that we need. Let me see, get the right screen.
I got to jump in here. What is a rotary kiln?
A rotary kiln is used for a lot of different things, like making lime, gravel, stone, crushing mill, stuff like that. And I'm the last person to know the details. It's funny. As a developer, I built the solution for them, but I'll show you a big picture one.
Okay.
They use them a lot in like cement and lime plants, stuff like that. So let's get my screen shared. You should be able to see a big picture.
Oh my goodness, that's huge.
Yeah. So these things are massive, right? And one of the biggest issues in this particular industry, and the reason for what I developed, is maintenance and repair. So these things pump out millions of dollars a day worth of material, whatever they're particularly using it for. And over time, wear and tear on these tires and different stress points, and don't quote me on this, I'm not the expert, they are, but what happens is it can cause serious damage to the foundation and other issues that could be prevented with maintenance. And now the thing is, Industrial Kiln and Dryer Group, they work nationwide. However, it's very costly to send a technician, an engineer out, to another country with travel and all the different expenses associated with it. And what they found is a lot of times that many of these issues can be resolved remotely, from a simplistic level of if somebody sent you an email with a picture or a video attached that said, hey, here's the problem that I'm having. And these guys are really good. I mean, they've got some of the best technicians in the world, and they can, a lot of times they can diagnose an issue in their sleep. I mean, this is what they do all day long every day. And so they came up with an idea of, well, how can we remotely diagnose issues and resolve as many issues as possibly remotely without having to incur the cost and time and everything else associated with it, gain a larger client base and so on. So this is remote kiln and dryer diagnostics, and this is a service of industrial kiln and dryer group here. And so what I'm about to show you is probably one of the bigger projects I've done, and it's developed with DNN, XMod Pro. I've utilized WebAPI. I've utilized jQuery extensively. I've utilized AngularJS, and I've utilized scheduling components, templating engines. I mean, everything you can kind of throw together to imagine something really cool. Well, this is really cool. Now, my goal for this, and the reason I'm showing you this, is because I go back. I get all passionate about this stuff because I go back and I look at, well, why am I writing the book and why am I doing these things? Well, once upon a time I was that copy and paste guy. Years and years ago, I wanted to learn how to do something more and better and better and better, and how can I make this form look better? How can I do this? How can I do that? And it stretches you. Now, you have XMod Pro as a development environment, be able to create module solutions, and then you have traditional module development. Now, what I've learned how to do is utilize XMod Pro not only in its standard form. You've got your CRUD models: create, read, update, delete. Create a record, edit, update, and so on. And then you can also use XMod Pro as a platform to bootstrap other technologies and integrate it with it. So a lot of what I'm going to show you is pure XMod Pro. Some of it's XMod Pro with using it, bootstrapping it into WebAPI and AngularJS. And so, well, anyway, let me just get started here. So someone typically goes to this site here, and they would click. They've got a problem. They're going to click report a problem. And aesthetically, it's pretty pleasing. This is my first time here. And can you guys see this? Okay, is it big enough?
It works for me.
Okay, my first time here, and this here is an XMod Pro form, right? So, but it doesn't look like one, does it? Which you typically see. All right, so we've got a lot of aesthetically pleasing things here. So hello, John, please select your general location below. And this is determined, this is actually an XMod Pro form that is getting fed data from WebAPI, which is utilizing AngularJS for these calls. So if I click on, for example, here, instantly I'm greeted with Sarah Ballou saying I'm the designated service rep for your area. Now, you can also use a feed to do this same thing, where as soon as I click that, it calls out to the feed and so on. So I've got a problem. Some basic info there. So think about it like an email. Next.
Sounds like a lot of support requests we get.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. So I'm Acme Incorporated. I'm the president. Yeah, right. Wish. Notice the validation on these forms when all the little stuff that you guys see here. So when you develop things like this, good gosh, once again, there's really no limit. So she's telling me I'm going to create a free account for you, and if my appointed technician needs more details, I'm going to be able to sign in and respond from my company page. Cool. Something else, guys. This whole solution is fully integrated with time zones, so it will convert dates, stamps, and so on in email notifications and everything based on the user's time zone, not only from their browser but in emails as well. And click Finish. Now something happened there. As soon as I clicked Finished, I developed several custom form actions. One thing that happened is it created a user account. I have a custom user account action, and it also created me a free plan an e-commerce plan, which is $0 a month, and integrated it with Stripe platform. So this user that I just created here now has a free plan on Stripe. Lots of cool stuff here. My contact card. This goes out to WebAPI and actually generates a contact card that I can load into my computer or phone with her picture and everything, contact information. So I can look at the premium account options, or I can go to my company page. There's also delay. What happened is my initial request was sent into an email queue, and about 5 to 10 minutes later, a scheduling job is going to pick up that email, and it's going to send a personalized email from this wonderful lady right here that says, hey, I'm looking over your request. Now her job is to find the appropriate, her job is to determine if this is a real case or not, if this is just some weirdo or if this is a real issue that pertains to their industry. So this is me. I can see this is my company page. This is an XMod Pro form template. All right, so I can add a logo. I can put in further details about my company if I want. I can add additional contacts to my company. And you can see that I've got this helper here the whole way too. So I can actually turn that on and off, turn assistance from my service rep on and off. Pretty neat. So she's walking me through here saying, look, here's your new cases. These are the ones that I'm determining what to do with. And we've got, once it's assigned to a technician, it goes into the open. Once it's resolved, it goes into the closed. Notice here's my case. I was inspired a lot by Zendesk when building this. I can hover over this and see the initial subject and the latest response. And if I click on this, it goes into an expanded view. And so this is the help desk view where I can very easily, now here, this is cool. This is an XMod Pro template. This whole thing, oh, no, wait. Yes, okay. Yes, this whole thing's a template. Now I can add email addresses to copy. You can see that was a success. There was no page refresh because I integrated that with just the web API. So I can type my response here. I can't attach files because, dang it, I need to upgrade my plan to do that. But I can ask general questions, and I can update this case. Also, this is I'm polling the server every 10-15 seconds or so. So if Sarah gets in here and replies, it'll pop up right in front of my face and give me a little big notice to say, to close it, saying I got the new message. Okay, so I can go to Manage Account. This is fully integrated with Stripe, so we've got some seriously cool e-commerce stuff going on here. I can see my subscriptions. I'm on the free plan. I can see the overview of my account. I can see my invoices and upcoming invoices. Yay, I'm on the free one. And I can manage credit cards that I have on file. So I can very easily either upgrade from here, or I can go to the plans page. Now check this out. This is not a form. This is an XMod Pro template. So here's a template that looks like a form. I can put in coupons. Hey, I get 100% off for 3 months. I can choose a plan. And you can see that this is calling the web API and determining literally, what I'm going to be charged, all that good stuff. It's quite smart, so no trick in this thing. I agree, and I'm going to subscribe. Look at a little spinning wheel, that's nice. If it was successful, then take me to a thank you page. So I'm going to go back to my company page.
Can I just say wow right now?
Thank you. Thank you very much. So I can go back to my account and I can actually change my mind here if I want. It's smart. So I'm gonna change my plan back to the free plan. Sorry guys. But it knows what that is. It says you've canceled your subscription. We're automatically going to downgrade you to our free plan once your billing cycle ends. Now what that is is I've got this whole thing integrated with webhooks with Stripe. So when that period event hits, it's going to notify the server, and it's going to pick it up in a webhook, and it's going to automatically convert them to the free plan when that time comes. Or I can change my mind and reactivate just like that. Now I can submit more problems because I get 3 a month now. I can go here and submit another problem if I want to. All right, so now the way this thing works is after you can see that's my plan there. So after I've submitted my issue, I'm going to now log out of this person and log in as the service rep. So she would have received an email, and she has her own desk. So everyone's got a desk to go to. You can see these are companies that are assigned to her. She can view the details of those companies. If they're missing an address, this is it goes out to Google to search the address to try to find it. It tried. I didn't give it a real name, or Acme Feed and Seed, based on their general location that they did there. And I can approve this company if I want to, but not necessary to show you this. So I can see here's the stuff I've got under pending review, and I click on that, and if this is a bogus case, a bogus ticket, I can send them a Dear John letter where it just says, hey, sorry, this just doesn't appear. Now, what you're seeing here are completely controlled. I'm going to show you guys that in a little bit. I've given this client the ability to manage all their templates. And this is what the email will look like. It'll come from Sarah Ballou here. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to approve this one. So I'm going to approve this. Following case has been approved. Okay, so at that point, she's done, and she actually has 2 in pending assignment. Now to the customer, it's not about pending review or pending assignment. It's just pending assignment. But there is this review process that they go through to weed out spam. I did put a lot of things, honeypot, some server timestamp methods and stuff to prevent that. Did everything I could to keep from having to use a stupid CAPTCHA, because we all hate those. Okay, so now I'm going to log out, and I'm going to log in as a manager. And so now I'll go to my manager desk, and I can see that I have 2 tickets that are pending assignment. Now it's my job to determine what technician gets this. Now there's some additional features here. I can tag it. Well, based on reading this, I can see it's related to drive torque, excessive, drive vibration. I can add a tag on the fly. And I can say this guy is going to be the assignee. I'm going to make it high priority. And I can choose whether to notify the technician, notify the customer, and notify the customer service rep that picked this up to begin with. Save and assign. And that was a success. So at this point, the manager is done. But since the technician is eating lunch, he's going to be a minute before he can review this. So I'm going to show you some more cool stuff in this manager view. This is, I'll show you guys this. It's actually not complete. That's in development. I'm going to show you this. This is something that I've built several times. This is all XMod Pro. This gives them the ability to upload documents, reports, different things that are related that will be helpful in resolving a customer's case. Now what's really cool about this is an unlimited depth folder structure. So I can go into test and create a new folder inside of that. And go inside of that folder, navigate between them, add new files in between each folder. So that's a lot of T-SQL fanciness that makes that happen. And Honestly, it wasn't all that fun, but and then they can add new files. This is the exile uploader control here, an optional description for what it is. And they can also tag files. So this gives them the ability to organize their data based on these tags. And here's some other stuff where they can manage team members on their site. Now, this is where all those territories come into place. So they can create different locations and territories. This is where, when I first created the account, I was selecting my general location. Well, that just determines what service rep's going to be handling the initial case. They have company types, cement, lime, other chemical processes. Process equipment types. Here's where they manage their case priorities. They can choose which one's the default that a case is first comes in as. Same thing with statuses. And here's their tags. Now this is really cool because they can create tags, and then they can also create, you see this little CS column right here, they can create potential causes and solutions for those particular issues. That helps them better determine what the problem is. Here's their automated templating. They've got their main settings. They've got their Dear John template, which includes token replacement. So when that email is generated, it replaces tokens based on what's available to them. Same thing with their signatures. They can control the signatures in the emails. The first time someone signs up, here's their new account email. Here's the email that they get from the CSR, the customer service rep. The notification to managers and the notification to the CSR that they were assigned a new company. Templates for the approval process, for the assignment process, for when they just create a new company. Like if they didn't go through that nice wizard process and just created an account and then later created a company, they can handle that differently. When they create a new case after their initial case, they can handle that differently. Gives them more of an ability to create better personalization in this thing. Okay, so here's the commerce. I've fully integrated a whole commerce platform here. They can see how much money they made. This is the dev site, so I'm not showing real numbers here, guys, in case anyone's wondering. So they can see the different plans, how many subscribers, who's past due, whatever. They can view their customers. And they can manage a particular customer. And they can see if they've got cards on file, they can edit their subscription directly from here, view details of that subscription, change the person's plan. They have more options like prorating the amount, stuff like that. Here's where they can create their different plans. They can create coupons. And here is automated emails, like let's say, here you go, every 3 days it looks for upcoming invoices, and if the person doesn't have a default card on file, it lets them know. Some automation. Same thing with their, you get those, hey, you've got your account renewal's coming up, but your card's expired, please fix it. Same thing. And if their payment fails, we've got a customized template that they can deal with that with their available token replacement. Okay, you guys with me so far? I'm going to...
I think we're all in.
Cool.
This is incredibly big and substantive, to find another synonym. How long did this take you to build?
A lot. I mean... this is why, if anyone's wondering why I've been a little vacant on the answers page on DNNDev, it's because of this in the book. And trying to put out fires and help people as much as I possibly can. This is a big project. Yeah. Now I'm logged in as Lou here, and he's actually a manager and a technician. But the case was assigned to him, so I'm going to go over to the technician view. And his view is a little bit different. He can only see certain things. He can see he's got an open case. I have a big problem. He can reply publicly, and this was inspired by Zendesk here. Thank you, Zendesk. You're awesome. Or an internal note that's just sent out to, privately within the organization. So, test. You see it's integrated with their profile pictures and all. Or he can close it. And then you can see it reloaded same page, but it moved me over here to closed. And there's a couple options there. I could have made it just close the whole thing, but that doesn't matter. Another cool thing about this is this whole platform is split in two. They actually have an in-house solution as well, to where they can create companies that are not signed up on the site. If someone calls in with a problem, they can impersonate the customer. And matter of fact, that's actually really cool, because later on what happens is when they might tell the customer, hey, we've been recording all this data for you, go ahead and create an account on the site. And once they do that, the CSR can get in there and click a button, and it migrates the entire thread, replaces all the to and the from based on the new person's account name and everything, and migrates it like they've been on the live site the entire time. So you might log in there later and see, oh yeah, that's the question I asked over the phone, and they type it in as if they were the customer asking it. So it enables them to track that data over time.
Really nice.
Let's see. Well, let's see. Let me show you. Yeah, I can show you. Let's see. I'm in the house. There we go. I got lost in my own platform here. All right, so if I do an inspect element on here, and you guys watch this network tab. This is the dev side. I may have turned this off. I hope not, because it is pretty cool. We'll know in a few more seconds. And if I did turn it off, I apologize. Oh, there you go. You see that? Poll expanded case. So over here, I'm gonna reply. In another screen, I just type something in as the CSR here. And we're just gonna sit here and be bored a second and hope that it works. The live demo and being on a development site that I'm constantly breaking. I think I have it set to 15 seconds. There it goes. Boom. So that automatically pops in, and you can see the little attention updates made to this case below. If I click that, it clears them out.
Very nice.
And lots of your typical stuff. Your nice little contact pages, XMod Pro form, managing team members, and that shows up on the About Us page. There's a head guy there. Well, not the head of the company. He's their head of their technical team. And anybody have any questions on this or what I used? I can't really dig into the code in this particular case, but I'd love to answer questions.
Yeah, how did you build it? This is huge. So let's kind of wrap it up. You have, in one solution, you have XMod Pro, and it sounds like you use that as kind of, well, to build certain forms, but also as a glue to tie in Stripe e-commerce along with the DNN user system, and then the WebAPI, which did a lot of your kind of real-time updates, and then you tied also in Angular, and what else?
Stripe.
I got Stripe. And now on top of that, you have built, if I counted right, you have 4 or 5 different views on the same ticket, depending on what role you're in. Is that right?
That's right. The page that you're looking at right here, like for example, this module on the left-hand side, I'm utilizing the XMod Pro module configuration token that determines what view, and I'm passing that value to the stored procedure that's determining what values are going to be needed for what part of the template, nulls for the other things. Now, the cool thing, one of the things I discovered is, when you create a traditional module, you're creating these views, right? And you're creating controls for those. Now, XMod Pro gives you an open window in an easy development platform just to create your own user and just server controls. Just create your own stuff. And so I can utilize the existing XMod Pro controls, the template, what's available in the forms, and all those different things, and my own stuff as well. Now, if you remember where it said you've submitted 1 out of 3 cases this month, that was actually a custom template tag that I created because it's doing a lot more than this whole thing does a lot more than what it may seem to or appear to. You guys can appreciate and understand it, but there's a lot involved there. It's talking to Stripe, it's talking to the database, it's doing all kinds of stuff. So anyway, taking this for example, let me just find an example here. All right, this left-hand column here, it looks like a form, but it's not a form. Now, actually, I should let me correct myself. This is a form.
Mm-hmm.
However, that's not an add button. It's not an add button, add link, add image. I think this is a form. Okay, you know what? I don't remember. It might be. If it isn't, it started out as one. Now the thing is what I'm doing with this is, whether it's a form or a template, it's not using an add button. Okay, so even if it is a form, I'm using as HTML space to put code in and put JavaScript in and put stuff in. Now, when I click this button here, it's capturing the values that are stored, in these different controls. It's sending those values out using the DNN Web API, the services framework. If you guys read on that, it's sent using the anti-forgery token, all that kind of stuff. Sending a post request to an endpoint that I created with the DNN Web API. That in turn is doing all kinds of stuff in server-side code, executing stored procedures, you name it, and is returning, everything I've done in here is returning JSON. Oh, that's one I forgot to throw out there. And that's typical if you've even looked at like AngularJS or a lot of these JavaScript frameworks. Most of them are integrated heavily with JSON and other templating engines and stuff to handle the display of the data. And then it returns a success or a fail. This down here, this is not a list data source. This is not a template. This is pure JavaScript that's generating the results on here. So it's taking a JSON string, because can be files attached to this, and that's another embedded value and so on, and it's creating that conversation tree. But this is an XMod Pro form. So this top part here is a form, but the data that's loaded in down here is not a template, and it's strictly coming from the JavaScript AJAX call with Angular and populating the data. So I guess ultimately, when we look at all this, and what I'd like to relay more than anything is, XMod Pro has no limits when you take into consideration how it can be foundationally used to stack all kinds of other technologies and stuff on top of it. It's a window into anything you can possibly imagine or need to do. Now, I could have built all this with traditional modules, but it would have taken me twice as long. So that's what's so cool about this. I can swap these things around on the page, duplicate the templates, test, put them wherever I want, configure the module instance, utilize a standard traditional XMod Pro template or form, where it's suitable, or get fancy with the, you know what, ultimately what it comes down to, guys, is JavaScript. You know, that's where you make things move. That's where you make things fancy. So it's just utilizing JavaScript or JavaScript libraries, frameworks with XMod Pro and DNN as a foundational tool. And then that first time here, when I first showed you guys this initially, that's literally, I think, like 5 form actions, 5 custom form actions. And you see how fast it was. It's creating an account. It's creating cases. There's not a submit command in that form. Every bit of the data that goes from that point on is handled with custom form actions.
So I've got to ask, when did you start with XMod Pro?
Oh, let me think. Well, you know, this is funny. I don't know, because when I first bought it, I made a mistake, and I asked you for a refund many years ago because I was looking for just XMod. And I don't know. Has it been 5 years? 4 years?
I don't know either.
6 years?
It hasn't been too long. But you started out knowing nothing, right?
Well, good gosh.
Relatively nothing.
And you were a real loser before you met me, Patrick. It's
From
so
a
glad I could
standpoint.
so glad I could be of help. What I knew was JavaScript was foreign to me.
Mm-hmm.
I could read some of it and tweak it and change it, but I didn't feel comfortable with it.
Mm-hmm.
I knew HTML, CSS. I was a good designer. And I was a front-end developer more than anything, but I lacked JavaScript. I used a lot of copying and pasting and plugins. So, and I even went through some tutorials and created some really basic kind of janky modules that didn't really do anything. And just kind of took off from there. But, you know, my personality, I'll spend 3 days solid on something until I figure it out. So I'm very driven in that manner, but I think I started using DNN in 2004, maybe, somewhere in that neighborhood. So I'm really not sure how long it's technically been, but I'll find out.
Well, one of the reasons
Figure it
I
out.
asked is that you were throwing around a lot of libraries, a lot of techniques. You've gone from where you started as a designer who knows HTML and CSS and no JavaScript to the point where you're writing custom controls and interacting with different JavaScript frameworks and with server-side technologies like WebAPI, and you've used that to craft this entire solution. And it really didn't take you that long to get from that starting point to where you are now. Do you think that here I am searching for a complement for the software? Do you think that XMod Pro had anything to help you in that process? No.
No. I have an answer for this. And matter of fact, if you read the introduction to Discover XMod Pro,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll quote myself, without me even realizing it, XMod Pro served as a silent tutor to me, teaching me how to program, and I didn't even know it. Now, what I mean by that is you learn about templates, views. These are repeater templates. You learn about these repeaters, the item template, footer template, and so on. Just taking that for example, that's not XMod Pro specific, and you can attest to that. That's standard language for a repeater control, basically. And so when you start getting the server-side code, you're like, oh my gosh, well now CSS class makes sense now instead of just class, or run at server makes sense now. I see what it's actually doing behind the scenes. And it's kind of hard to explain, but the foundational principles of utilizing XMod Pro and learning how that works, and then take JavaScript and marry it with that knowledge. You take those two, you stick them together, and you start plugging away at server-side stuff. And I believe it expedites your development and your learning ability tenfold. And it's kind of hard how to explain how that works, but when I started server-side development, things just made more sense. All the way down to the errors that I would see in the event log, where at one point in time I'm banging my head against the wall saying, what the heck does this mean? And now I go, well, now I at least I know that, well, I'm looking at a class and a function that's being called. And you start learning all the little details. Man, I wish I could explain it in a better way. But it comes down to this. You can quickly and rapidly build solutions with XMod Pro that will support the vast use cases of a client's needs, or your own. Then you might say, man, I wish that it swung to the left or the right, or it faded out or faded in, or it didn't refresh the page, or this or that, or whatever the heck that might be. Then you figure out how to do that. And then that's how I learned. I would think, I wanted to do A, B, and C. Well, you know what? I would. You know me. You've heard me rant and rave. I don't care how long it takes me to figure out how to do A, B, and C. I'm going to figure out how to do A, B, and C. Where another mentality is, how can I take an existing capability and mold what I want into that existing capability? That's the traditional module approach that I'm in disagreement with, where you rely on someone else's mold. So maybe that's why I've been able to excel so quickly, because I absolutely refuse to be limited or in a box whatsoever. And then it comes down to utilizing the best tool for the job. Well, if I need a JavaScript framework that can read a JSON feed in unlimited depth, then I'm going to figure out how to use that. Now, do I need to build a traditional module to do that, or can I bootstrap it with XMod Pro? And when I say bootstrap, guys, anyone who's hearing this, I'm not talking about getbootstrap.com. I'm just talking about using it to strap on the technology. Well, if I can do that more efficiently, I'll use XMod Pro. Lots of stuff floating around in my head that I could share, but we're running out of time.
Yeah, well, one of the things is this is such a vast and substantive project that I don't want people to think that, oh, I could never build that. You started from a place probably like a lot of other people who are just starting with XMod Pro, and you've come to this point, and XMod Pro has essentially allowed you to build what you need to get done for your existing clients, but not be limited to that. It allows you to move from that point to this advanced point.
Yes, and I think they can. I think anyone who has the mentality of, man, there's no way I'm going to be able to build that. I think that's delusional. Of course you can. And the response that I've got in the book, one of them I really liked how it was worded. Patrick, I love the way you have the ability to scaffold knowledge, how and when I need it. That's because I'm in the book. I'm teaching the way. I'm taking out all my pain points, and I'm teaching you the way that I think would be easiest to learn. Now, if you want to build something, you'll learn how to do it. I mean, that's just eventually, you'll learn how to do it. And that's why I wanted to develop the book, because if you go through that whole stinking book, which is massive, 10 times bigger than I ever thought, you can build advanced solutions with XMod Pro. Then you're already here. Then you're at the place where you can start going, okay, what is Angular, or what is React.js, or what are all these other things, and how can I start making things fancier? You're there that quickly. And I'll tell you, man, it's kind of weird for me, because I want to show off and say, I did a great job on this, but really I wouldn't be anywhere near where I am now in my career if it wasn't for what you developed, Kelly. So I'd get there eventually, or I may not. I may have left the DNN world, and went somewhere else. I would have gotten there one way or another, but not this quickly, and it hasn't been this fun. So
speaking of the book, you completed the complete edition. Is that right?
The complete edition is complete. Now, what I need to do is I wanted to email the customers, those who have purchased complete edition, get their feedback. I'll be honest with you, the book is very large, and one of the difficult things about writing it is focusing on it and then having to work on a client project and going back to it and work on a client project along with support requests or whatever else that comes in. So I've been kind of going through the chapters, making sure I didn't miss anything, and it's so thorough that it's possible that I missed something. But I guess that's what revisions are for. But yeah, it's done, and the discount will be available a little while longer until I feel confident that it is done. Then on to the Elite Edition, where I'm going to be teaching you guys how to build the custom form actions and template tags and how to create an installable extension.
So people can get in on the early pre-release pricing still, even though it's complete?
Yes, that's right. It's they can, and it's pretty heavily discounted. Yeah, I do want to add that when I priced it for a book that was probably about a third of the size that this one is. A lot of software comes with the complete edition, but so there you go. You go through the complete edition, and then once you jump into the Elite Edition, you're going to be developing server-side stuff. So yeah.
So get that quickly if you haven't picked up a copy to Patrick's book. He's a certified XMod Pro trainer, and he knows his stuff, as witnessed by the project here today. I also want to make a bit of an announcement. Of course, the visual that XMod Pro 4.7 has been released, and we are going to do what we rarely do, and we are going to have a sale to celebrate that fact. And to give it a nice hook, we are going to give you $47 off of the price of XMod Pro to celebrate version 4.7. See what I did there? I decided to give you $47 off instead of $4.70 off, because that's just the kind of guy I am. That's how we roll around here. Anyway, so look for the discount coming in your email, and make sure you are subscribed to our email list, because that's where the code will be. And we'll be sending that out probably tomorrow, perhaps, depending on where you're at. It might get to you on Saturday. But this is going to last just 1 week, and then we're going to lock things down again, and we're going to move on and start building XMod Pro 5 and to do some wonderful things for you. But right now, we want to give you, our loyal viewers of the user group, as well as our existing customers, a deep discount on XMod Pro 4.7, $47 off. And so look for that in your email. There is, I don't have anything else to give you. I think we've run out of time. We will be having yet another user group next month, and that falls on what date, Melinda?
February 25th.
February 25th. So that will be the last Thursday in February. Join us, and we hope to see you then. Until then, happy XModding.